Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We'll just give everyone time to access the live stream. So we'll take a few minutes to introduce ourselves again and go through the questionnaire that you filled in for the last session. Thank you so much, because we had really a lot of people attending the live stream, a lot of people filling in the questionnaire and marking their attendance. So really, we don't have words to thank you for your participation. So it's me again, you know me, I'm Alessia, and together with me today is Catherine. I'm really happy to have Catherine here. We've been working together for the past 9 months on audience solutions. So Catherine, if you want to say a few words about yourself.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So my name is Catherine, and I work in the French team. I work with performance agencies for 2 years, and I've been working together with Alessia on audience solutions and products for a bit more than a year and a half. So I'm very happy to be here today with you to present you some of our audience solutions. And I'll let you start, Alessia, with the recap of last week.
So we're going to have a quick recap of last week, and then today we're going to go through best practices for dynamic remarketing. Remarketing is for search ads and demographic for search ads. Quick note, this is going to be the last session on, I would say, basic to intermediate level of audience knowledge. From next session on, we're going to go a bit more in depth. So make sure that everything we covered until now is clear. Feel free to go back to the presentations or videos that you can find on the website, because from next time, we're going to go a bit more advanced and a bit more in depth on audience matters. So last week's survey, so thanks again. A lot of people filled it in. We ask you which of the following is true, select all that apply. And I'm not going to spend much time here because everyone got it right. So we said that 96% of people that visit a website leave without converting. 70% of people abandon their shopping cart without purchasing, and 49% of users visit 2 or 3 websites before converting. These are really important numbers to justify the importance of remarketing. So these are main takeaways that you can also use with your clients and with your accounts when you are setting up a remarketing campaign and explaining why it is important. AdWords remarketing is cross-device. It's true. And similar audiences for search, again, here we had a huge share of people getting this right, so won't spend much time on it. But similar audiences solutions allow you, similar audience solution allows you to reach new users similar to your current users. And last question, pain points. Some people got it wrong. Difference among intent and interests. So intent signals focus on what you like, what your passions are, and what you're interested in. This is false. These are interest signals. Intent signals focus on what you are about to do. For example, an affinity audience that classifies you as someone passionate about fashion is focusing on interest signals. An in-market audience that classifies you as someone as about to purchase, for example, a new pair of shoes, is focusing on intent signals. So really important to know about this difference, especially for the display session that we're gonna cover in 2 weeks. So make sure this concept is clear, and feel free to go back to our resources if you wanna know things a bit more in depth and in detail. So now, what we're gonna cover today in this session, a quick recap on dynamic remarketing. The main takeaway of this part will be for you to have clear selling points. So why dynamic remarketing is important. We're going to give you some data and some statistics that you can reuse in the future. And which are the best practices to segment your list and segment lists according to the marketing objective that you have. Then we're going to cover in depth search audiences, so RLSA, and demographic for search ads. For RLSA, we're going to have an introduction on why it is important to have RLSA, which is the best RLSA strategy, and how to set up RLSA at scale. The next session will cover all the RLSA really in depth, so stay tuned. We think that this is a really important tool, so it's important to have a session dedicated to that. So just to recap, so why we are here today, how we built our curriculum in this, up to now, in this Audience Academy. So we started in the first session giving you an overview of all audience solutions available with your first-party data, for example, remarketing data, analytics data, and Google data, for example, in-market audience or affinity audiences. Then in the second session, we explained you how Google creates audiences from Google data. So we went really in depth into audience algorithms. Last session, we covered remarketing, which is one of our audience solutions to turn a date into a relationship. It uses your own first-party data to remarket on users that have already been on your website. We also covered similar audiences, which is a way to use Google data starting from your remarketing list, but to acquire new users similar to yours. Today, we're going to cover dynamic remarketing, and Catherine is really expert on that, so she's going to help us. And we're going to cover audience solutions, not only for display, so not only dynamic remarketing, not only remarketing on the Google display networks, but you can use audiences also for search. So remarketing list for search ads and demographic for search ads. So I'm going to just give you this, and I will leave everything to Catherine on dynamic remarketing.
Thank you, Alessia, for the recap. So as you said, we're going to start with dynamic remarketing. And first of all, what's important for us is to give you some key selling points to give to your own clients, to explain to them why dynamic remarketing is important. So last week, you saw why remarketing in general was important, but we go a bit further, showing you how complex and different purchase cycle can be. So you see that it can include many steps and up to 30 steps, that users can use many different devices, that they can browse either on their computers, on mobile, they can go either on mobile websites or on apps. So they will see a lot of different pages before making a decision. They spend a lot of time online, and when they go, for example, on retailer website, they will be exposed to a lot of products. So I don't know if you have these figures in mind, but 23K products on average in a feed is just huge. So they have a lot of possibilities. You can get many combinations, and that's why it's important to use dynamic remarketing. Dynamic remarketing will indeed enable you to personalize the ads, which means that you can show an ad that's based on what a user did. So, for example, if you look at how you behave on when you're browsing the web, if you go on a website and you see a nice pair of shoes, but you choose not to buy it now, and you need to think a bit more. If you're later exposed to an ad that will show you this exact pair of shoes, you will be much more likely to go back on a website and buy this specific pair of shoes, rather than if you're exposed to, I don't know, a dress, for example, that's sold on the same website. So that's why it's important to use tailor-made ads and relevant content based on what the user did before. Figures here are very important as well, because you can see that on average the conversion rate is twice better when you use dynamic remarketing versus static remarketing. And the CPA in general is lower by 60%. So it's really a great tool for your clients that are performance oriented. To give you a bit of recap on how dynamic remarketing works, I just want to go through the steps on what happens for the user and from the technical point of view. So the first step is, of course, a user visiting a product page on a website, and he will see a specific product. The remarketing tag will enable us to actually match this product with an ID that's going to match with the feed of your clients. So in the merchant center, in the feed, you must have the same product ID as on the website. And this will enable us to propose an ad that displays the exact same product. So with this specific ID, but also other products that are similar similar to the one that's been seen, or that are likely to be bought by the same user in a complement. So that's why it's important to have everything set up right in the tag, but also in the feed of your clients. Since the beginning, I'm talking a lot about retail, but remember that it's available for all verticals. So your clients can build feeds for all the verticals that they might use, so that we can match them to the products and the pages that have been seen. To personalize the ads, we recommend you to use dynamic responsive ads because they are the best performance solutions. So dynamic responsive ads are ads that automatically fits on every screen and every ad placement. So if you remember in the first slide, we wrote that we have 22 ad formats available. So instead of creating 22 different ads, this one will adapt to all the formats available on the Google Display Network. So it's really easy to implement in the AdWords front end. You only need a logo, an image, and description lines, so that we can then have an ad that adapts to every display placement available. It's available on the whole display network, so the reach is 100%, and you also have an access to the native inventory that was previously unavailable to dynamic ads. Now I want to give you some best practices that you can actually propose to your clients depending on what their marketing objectives are. So here, what we did is basically use a traditional purchase funnel. So on the left side of the screen, you have the upper funnel solution. So awareness is basically being known by the clients. And the further on the right you go, the more you go towards action and repeated actions. So the think part about consideration and evaluation is really having someone making the decision and choosing your client rather than another one. The do section is doing the action, so either purchasing a product or booking a travel or registering for a formation. So there can be very different objectives. And the last one is really to drive loyalty. So once someone has bought on a website, you will want to make sure they come back and buy again. So that's what we have in the care section. What's important to remember is that you're not going to target the same type of audience depending on what the objectives are. So if you're more in an awareness objective, you're going to go broad and target maybe all site visitors or the visitor of a specific category. And the more you go down the purchasing funnel, the more specific you will be. And for example, if you want to really convince someone to purchase, you're going to target cart abandoners. Having said all that, so once you've decided who you are going to target, please also remember the best practices in setting up dynamic remarketing campaigns. So audience solution for remarketing already narrows your traffic to very specific segment type. So don't narrow it further by adding languages targeting or locations targeting. It's best to actually select all languages and all locations. Since we said that dynamic remarketing was a performance solution, it's better also to optimize your ad rotation for conversions and to automate your frequency cap. So
there were a lot of questions around this last time. So I've added a slide on the last week presentation in which we explain what automating your frequency cap means. It basically means not setting any frequency cap at all and use an automated bid strategy at campaign level. So for example, you don't set any frequency cap and you add target CPA as bidding strategy in your campaign. What happens is that the machine learning, so the algorithms behind the Google automation systems, will show the ads to those users who are more likely to convert. And if the ads has been shown already many times to someone that, thanks to the machine learning, is categorized as not willing to convert or not likely to convert, the ad will stop showing. So it's done really automatically. So the way that you do that, you just set up, of course, if you have a good conversion tracking in place and you're tracking the right conversion, so always make sure that this is happening. You just set, for example, target CPA at campaign level and don't set any rule at all in terms of a frequency cap. The system will work automatically on that.
And the same for devices. So don't forget to opt in into mobile. Today, we see that on average, 50% of the traffic comes from mobile, so it's really important to be present there. It's important to tag the M site as well, and to leverage dynamic responsive ads to have a nice format available on mobile. And the same as for frequency or for ad rotation, machine learning will enable the algorithm to show on a mobile for people that are likely to convert on their mobile. So don't worry about it. If you set up a good target CPA or a good target ROAS, it will work also on mobile.
Yeah, and what is important is also to choose the right bids. So for example, if you're using manual bidding and not target CPA, make sure the bids are different, for all these ad groups and lists according to your objective. So higher when it comes to closing the purchase or conversion channel, and maybe a bit lower when you are more far from the conversion. But again, it really depends on your objectives, because if your objective is acquisition and it's C and it's the first part of the strategy that we saw before, you might want to raise also your bids for C and awareness. So really have a conversation with your clients, try to set up the strategy together and tailor bids and list accordingly.
Yeah. And don't hesitate, of course, to contact your account strategist that will be able to give you some relevant bids according to the different lists you're using. So here is a little recap that you will be able to use when setting up a dynamic remarketing campaign. So on the top of it, you see all the objectives, so the marketing objectives that we saw before, and all the lists that are relevant to use. And you can see which one you can use or exclude depending on your objective in different ad groups. So you can print this slide and have it on your desk so you can know which list to use in which solution. Now, Alessia is going to start the search audiences section by speaking about remarketing lists for search ads.
Thank you, Catherine. So first, before starting, if you have any questions, please type them on the right of your screen. I have seen that in many of the forms I have received, there were questions. So unfortunately, I checked the questions after I had already submitted the presentation to be uploaded in the website. So please don't ask questions in the questionnaire. Make sure you are asking them on the right of the video right now, because even if we don't have time to go through them at the end of this live stream, I will make sure that I answer them all in the presentation, exactly as I did last time. So if you check the presentation that has been uploaded to the website, the last few slides are all about your questions, and you can find all the answers there. So make sure you ask as many questions as you can. I will answer them all at the end of the hangout if we can, or on the slides. So don't be shy. So remarketing list for search ads, or also called RLSA, it's a tool that allows you basically to modify your bids on search according to the fact that a user has already been or not to the website. So it's part of not of an RLSA list. What I really like about this wheel that you see on the left of the screen is that it explains you exactly how it works. So when it comes to search campaigns, the heart of a search campaign is always the keyword. So if you have keywords in your account and people are, of course, typing keywords that are matching the keywords in your account, that is given to the algorithm the signal that your ad can be shown. So the keyword keeps you safe. Your ad is going to be shown if keywords typed by users are matching keywords that you have in your account. So first step. Of course, for your keywords, you can decide bids using automatic bidding or, for example, using manual bid. So what happens is that those people that are typing your keywords can be new users or existing users. We have seen last time when we were talking about remarketing that someone who is visiting a website, in 96% of cases, will leave that website without converting, as we recapped also at the beginning of this session. So what happens is that if someone that has already been on your website before and is typing again those keywords that you have in your account, might not have found what he was looking for in other websites. So it's worth for you to bid more, also on search, on those users that are part of our remarketing list, because they have twice the chance to convert compared to a new user. So we have the keyword, we have your existing users and new users, and on your existing users, you can bid more through RLSA or customer match, for example. Again, it's another solution that you can use using and leveraging your first-party data. On top of everything, you have demographics. So demographics is gonna increase, as Catherine will explain at the end of this session, or decrease your bids according to the fact that a user is a male or if female or in a given age range. So RLSA, it's really, really useful to automatically raise bids according to your preferences if you're using manual bid, if a user typing one of your keywords is a returning user. So let's say that, for example, you're selling yoga pants and one of your keywords is exactly yoga pants, and I have been on your website before. I am part of your RLSA list. If I'm typing yoga pants and you're bidding €1 for everyone else, but you have 100% bid adjustment on RLSA users, the bid for me will be €2. So you will have higher chances of showing to me the ad on the top of the page or also winning the auction on a first place. So remarketing lists for search ads are a way to tailor your bids on the users that are already familiar with your products or brand, then more willing to convert, and audiences on those higher converting consumers. We have seen higher conversion rate and lower CPAs when using RLSA. So this is why it is important, and it's really part of a basic setup of a search campaign. Is nothing advanced, should be there from the beginning. In the next session, we're going to see how the system adjusts automatically bids when using automatic bidding. So this is an RLSA framework that we developed to give you some kind of hints and steps on how to set up an RLSA strategy. So make sure that you are targeting all your website visitors so that you have an all user list. And if there are no policy restrictions, the remarketing list will automatically populate for search. So you have noticed maybe in your remarketing list, the left column in the audience in library says search and shows the number of cookies for you available to use on search. So nothing really complicated if you already have remarketing. Apply RLSA to all campaigns and ad groups. It's really important. It gives you a lot of data. You can see data, clicks coming from returning users, impression shows to your returning users. So make sure you're adding RLSA throughout all your campaigns. Increase the bids for top positions. And we will see this in depth later. And then what you can do, you can also segment the lists further based on the conversion funnel and time. And then you can use RLSA in a target and bid mode. We will see these really in depth in the next session. It's a bit more advanced, so we won't cover it now. Of course, if you're already familiar with RLSA, what you can do is to start immediately with 5 different lists. So instead of starting from the all user only, you can apply all users and other lists as well in a bid only mode. Bid only is always the first step. We're going to explain and recap what it means just in a second.
And remember that it also depends on the amount of traffic that your client will have, since you need to have at least 1,000 users in an RLSA list. If it's a small client that has a few traffic, you might use only all users. But if you have big clients that have a lot of traffic on all the sections of their websites, you can go further and start already with more advanced lists.
So we have a couple of tools to make it easy for you to add RLSA to all your ad groups. Really make sure that RLSA is like keywords. When you're setting up a search campaign, you add keywords, you add ad groups, you add ads. Make sure that you remember to add RLSA immediately. It gives you really good reporting from the beginning, and it's part of the basic setup. How you can do that in a really quick way? Not so long ago, we have developed and launched a new tool, which is the copy-paste function. So finally, we are able to copy and paste RLSA list across the whole account. So here I have listed all the steps that you need to take. So feel free to go back to the presentation tomorrow when we upload it. I reviewed it. But basically, let's say that you have one ad group with 5 RLSA lists, and you want to copy all those lists to all your search campaigns. You can just simply select the lists, copy them, go to search campaigns, ad groups tab, and paste them. The system will work and automatically paste all the lists for you across the whole account. Make sure that on the left you have selected search campaigns so that you are not copying those lists also to the display campaigns, for example. When you are copying your lists, the system will ask you, how do you want me to copy the list? In a bid-only mode, in target and bid, or in default, which is the first recommended option. Please use default because it will keep the actual targeting method already present in an ad group. So let's say that you are taking a list which is, I don't know, all converters, and you're copying it to all your search campaigns. If you use the default mode when you're copying the list, if the list gets copied to an ad group which is in target and bid, that list will be kept in target and bid as well. If the list is copied to an ad group which is in bid only, that list will be kept in bid only. Super important, because if it's copied in target and bid, it will restrict a lot your traffic. So make sure you use default, because that's the easiest way to do that. Quick recap on bid only and target and bid. We know it's tricky. Maybe this is too basic for some of you or too advanced for some others of you. So it's really important that we recap what it means. Bid only allows you to show your ads to anyone. Doesn't matter if that person that is typing the keyword is a new user or a returning user, part of your RLSA list. But what happens is that through bid only, you can adjust your bids for the RLSA list. So the ad will be shown to anyone, doesn't matter if it's a new or returning user, but you can say for the returning user, let me bid 100% more. If you select target and bid, and we will go in depth on this in the next session, it's a bit more advanced, it has other strategies behind, the ad will be shown only to those users that are part of your remarketing list. So again, as Catherine was saying before, if the traffic on your website is already really low, make sure you only use bid only. New tool, I'm excited to present this to you. I hope someone is already familiar with that. If not, we have really recently launched campaign level RLSA. So before, if you wanted to add, for example, the all user list to all your search campaigns, you needed to copy it at ad group level. Meaning that if you wanted to increase your bids, you needed to go in each ad group and manually increase the bids, unless you're using automatic bidding. But let's say that you're using manual bids, you needed to go in each ad group, check the list, increase the bids, adjust the bids accordingly. We have created campaign level RLSA, so I'm not sure you have noticed this already, but when you add an RLSA list, the system will ask you if you want to add this list at campaign level or ad group level. Campaign level is amazing, first because it's simple. You will not need to manage the bids at ad group level anymore. You will manage the bids at campaign level, so easier management. And when you are calculating the bids that you want to add, the sample of data will be higher because it's calculated at campaign level, right? So it will be easier also for you if you're calculating it manually, or for the system to check what's the best recommendation. Or if you're talking to your account strategist, you will be able to choose the bids together with a higher sample of data. Super important, especially for smaller websites. So I'm not sure you were already familiar with this tool, but it's really easy. Try to use these really to simplify bids management, especially. Let's say you have 5 lists, you will copy them to a campaign, and you only will need to manage 5 bids, not 5 times all the ad groups that you have, which was super complicated. So if you're setting up a new campaign, feel free really to use campaign level RLSA. If you want to switch an existing campaign from ad group level RLSA lists to campaign level, you can absolutely do that. Make sure you follow the best practices on this slide, because what you have to do is that you have to remove the ad group level lists before. So it's really important. Campaign level and ad group level cannot coexist. So you will need to remove the list at ad group level and insert the lists at campaign level. So it's the only maybe tricky thing that you have to remember. Everything is listed in this slide. You don't need to take notes. The presentation will be uploaded. But just make sure you remember about this. For the new campaign, we really recommend you to use campaign level RLSA, unless the ad groups and ad text you're using are really different. But otherwise, campaign level is super simple. So list best practices. Catherine already mentioned a few of these things, but I don't know if you know that. Again, this is not really an old thing. Recently, RLSA list duration is 540 days, so like any other remarketing list. 1,000 cookies is the minimum required to make the RLSA list work. So if it's less than 1,000 cookies, you will not be able to use it. You can set a longer list duration or a shorter list duration according to what's the objective of your clients and the purchase cycle. A longer list duration helps advertisers with long seasonality or long purchase cycles. Think about, I don't know, buying a house, for example, a real estate company. It's not something that you do from one day to the other. So for those kind of users, you might want to choose a longer RLSA duration. A longer RLSA list duration allows you to have also larger lists, because the cookie doesn't expire and really easily. It takes 540 days before it drops from the list, so better list coverage. But pay attention, always align your list duration to your strategy, so to make sure that you are targeting the right users. Sometimes targeting too old users is not the best strategy. You can also make some tries and change the RLSA list duration and see how it works. List best practices, the simpler, the better. Maximum 5 lists, especially if you're also using customer match. It's another layer. If you're using demographic, it's another bid to manage. So make sure that RLSA is no more than 5 lists. Target all users, past converters. Cookie duration-based lists is really important. For example, you can target those users that visited your website in the past 30 days. Cart abandoner and product page viewers. This is a sample and really simple way to segment your list. But again, talk to your account strategists, talk to your clients to understand what's their strategy. If you're using automatic bidding, of course, you don't need to manually change the bids. We will cover this in the next session. But if you're using manual bids, the only way to exploit the full value of RLSA is to increase RLSA bid adjustment. So what you can do go in the audiences tab, where you have copied and pasted, for example, your RLSA list, and adjust the bids. You have full control. AdWords will automatically raise your basic bids according to the type of user that enters the auction. So if you set 100% bid adjustment, the bid will be double if the user is on the RLSA list. You have full control. You decide the maximum bid adjustment, and the maximum is 900. To choose the right bid adjustment, I'm not sure everyone is familiar with this. It's fairly also a new tool. We launched this maybe last summer. if you go into the Opportunities tab of your AdWords accounts, you might have noticed that there are RLSA opportunities. What it means is that RLSA, the Opportunities tab, is able to tell you if you need or if you are really strongly recommended to add RLSA lists to your ad groups, and you can do that with one click. To add RLSA lists with a bid adjustment that has been calculated for you to optimize performances, or if you need to change the bid adjustment. So let's say that, for example, you have enabled the wall account with RLSA lists, but forgot to add a bid adjustment, and you don't know which bid adjustment is the best one for your ad group. You can go into the Opportunities tab and check if there are change bid adjustment suggestions. And let's say that the system suggests you to apply 100% bid adjustment to a given ad group. With a click, you will be able to apply it. As simple as it is, we strongly encourage you to use this tool because the bids are mathematically calculated to optimize your performance and decrease your cost per acquisition. So really important that you use it. Anyway, rule of thumb, remember that if someone leaves your websites and then come back, has twice the chance to convert than a new user. So it's worth to bid twice on RLSA lists. So as a rule of thumb, you can use 100% bid adjustment on your RLSA lists. If it's about all users, make sure you use 100%. If it's about product page viewers or cart abandoners, I would suggest to increase the bids just because those users are closer to closing the conversion cycle. So they are really, if they have abandoned the cart, you might want to maybe bid 160% more. So more than someone who has just visited, for example, a product page or has just visited your website, doesn't matter which page.
And you can also imagine that those users might compare prices, for example. So have the same behavior on your client's competitors' website. And since the lists are quite small, you are actually competing on a very small user list. So that's why it's important to bid higher on those type of users to be in the top positions in the search results.
Exactly. So again, make sure you have a conversation, you understand what's the objective of each campaign, and you adjust bids accordingly. This is a really nice tool, report in analytics that I wanted to share with you because not many people know it, and it's the bid adjustment report in analytics. So if you have linked your AdWords account and analytics account, if you go under the AdWords reports, you can check the bid adjustment. So click on bid adjustments report and then select search remarketing lists. This will give you insight on how your search remarketing lists users are performing in terms of clicks and costs, but these data are just copied and pasted from AdWords. What is important is that here, like in the AdWords reports, you can see how many sessions these users were opening, their bounce rate, how many pages per session they saw, e-commerce conversion rate, and so on. So it's a really, really nice tool that matches RLSA AdWords reports with traditional analytics data like pages per session, sessions, or bounce rate. So really nice, and it's available also for devices, also for mobile and location, all the bid adjustments that you have in your AdWords account. Really nice also to prove the value of RLSA to your clients. So here we just listed, and then I'm done. I'm gonna leave everything to Catherine again. So I hope you're not bored from my voice. Demystifying RLSA, really important because when you use RLSA, a few of our clients might have objections. It's a really easy tool. Sometimes we have seen a few objections that it's really important that you're able to answer just on the spot. Because RLSA, it's a great tool, it works, so we need to demystify everything behind that. If someone tells you, I don't know the bidding strategy, the right answer is use the Opportunities tab to check what's the best bidding strategy for your ad group, or rule of thumb, use 100% bid adjustment as a one-fits-all rule. I don't know the value of my returning users. In Google Analytics, you can analyze how returning users behave in terms of conversions, bounce rate, pages visited. So we have seen a report right now, but in general, you can segment new versus returning users in analytics. What is really nice is that we have a test that we can do to, for example, test different bid adjustments or testing a 0% bid adjustment on all your users versus 100%, for example, bid adjustment. This is called incrementality testing with analytics cookie split, and I'm gonna walk you through this in the next advanced session, so next week. So make sure you attend if you wanna know more about this. Someone could tell you, I'm already in the first position, why should I put a bid adjustment on RLSA? This is a really good question. If you're already in first position, the bid adjustment will not affect your cost per click, but will allow you to keep your ad rank if competitors suddenly set a more aggressive bidding strategy. Also check the impression share. You might be first because you're first in the auctions that you win, but you might be losing a huge share of impressions just because you're not winning the auction and you're not just getting your spot in the auction. So raising bids will always help you, especially on returning user, which are the most valuable one. Remarketing on converted is useless. If someone has already converted, why should I use RLSA list on past converters, for example? Remember that what we said at the beginning of this RLSA section, the keyword is what keeps you on the ground. If someone is not typing your keywords, will not be able to see the ad. So if a past converter is typing a keyword that you have, the keyword is still the first signal of intent. So that person has still a need of your products or services. So make sure you are also raising your bids to RLSA on past converters. Now demographics for search ads.
Thank you, Ale. So I remember you that if you want to ask questions or if a point that Alessia raised wasn't clear, please do so in on the right of your screen, and we can answer it in the end of this session. So if you remember the wheel that Ale showed you, so you can see that you have the keyword first that's taken into account in a search campaign. Then we used the users that we know, so returning visitors versus the ones that we don't know, so new visitors. And on top of that, we can have more information on demographics, so age or gender of the person who made the search. So what we can do and what we recommend you to do is to use DFSA, so demographic for search ads, in complement to RLSA, so to use it to adjust your bids on age range or genders. So the key benefits of this solution is that you don't need any setup or a specific coding. You will find all the information on demographics in the demographic tab in the AdWords front end. And as you can see on the screen, you will have a nice and visual reporting that you can share with your clients. So you will have a pie showing you the percentage of each gender that made clicks on a specific campaign or for who the campaign generated impressions. And you can have also a listing of the different age ranges to see which one is the one that you touched the most. This will enable you to bid more effectively on the people that have the more value for your clients, so that have the best performances, but it's also something that you can use as recommendations for your clients that can use all this information, for example, to edit their websites and choose the images that they're going to push on their homepage, or in their display campaigns, they can also use this information to see, for example, that for a specific product, they are more searched by women aged 25 to 30 years old.
This is a really important thing, how you can use AdWords data not only to optimize your AdWords campaigns, but also websites or ads in the display network, for example. So exactly. It's a really good point.
And that's something that your clients are going to value a lot if you give them those kinds of insights. So where do you find DFSA? So for those of you who are not familiar with the solution, you can go in the audience tab of an AdWords account, and there is a sub-tab called demographics where you can have all of this information. And I recommend you to switch demographic combination on so that you can see combined reports of age range and gender. So the do's and don'ts, as we said, demographics is another signal that you can use. It's good to use it really as users are doing. So you're not going to use it to, for example, exclude a specific audience, but more to adjust your bids on the audience, so either age range or gender, that perform the best for your clients. So I don't think you can see the slides anymore, so we're trying to fix it.
But sorry about that.
Sorry about that technical problem, but I think it's easier for you to understand with the slides showing.
Let's try again. Should be able to see it now. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So as I said, the best is not to use this section to exclude a specific gender or an age range, as it's going to restrict your traffic a lot. But what you can do is use a positive bid adjustment on the campaign that on the demographics that you see perform the most on a specific campaign, and maybe lower the bids if some categories perform less for one specific campaigns. It can be very useful as well if your clients are really impacted by seasonality. So for example, if among your clients you have a florist, for example, you might adjust the bids on men when it's Mother's Day, or on women when it's Father's Day. So you can really use it according to the seasonality that your client is going to face. And of course, as we said, it's important to use it in combination with RLSA. And in the next session, so next week, you're going to see more about how you can combine bids between all the different audience signals. So this session was very dense, but Alessia, for you, what were the main takeaways of this session?
So I would say that the main takeaway for dynamic remarketing was having a lot of data, selling point, and list strategies to build and also explain the dynamic remarketing strategy to your clients. So we have seen that our world is really complex in terms of data. Dynamic remarketing and dynamic ads will really ease your remarketing strategy to personalize remarketing ads according to, for example, the pages that your clients have visited. So really important, keeps those data in mind, keeps the audience list strategy in mind. I think that's the main takeaway of the session for dynamic remarketing. And then for remarketing lists for search ads and demographics, we have covered a lot.
But I think it's important for you to remember what are the different steps of RLSA and how you implement them on a campaign. It's important for you to keep in mind that the keyword is still the main point of a search campaign, and that's a user making a specific query you've chosen to bid on. That's gonna impact if your campaign has impressions or not. So then we saw that both RLSA and demographics for search ads were extra signals that you can use in addition to your keyword strategy to actually bid more effectively on those audiences and get better performances for your clients.
Yeah, and when you talk about bids and when you think about bids, I think it's really important to think more than about bid adjustments, let's say 100% more, which can sound really scary, but about the real final value. So if you are bidding €1 on every kind of user and you're bidding 100% more on RLSA, you are just bidding €2. So 100% might sound really scary. Try to think about what's the real final value. And also remember that the bid is not the final price that you're gonna pay. So all these steps are really important to understand also the value and to explain the value of RLSA to someone else.
And don't forget when you're building reports to your clients that you can find reporting data also in analytics so that you can give them on top of the conversions that you also have in AdWords. You can also give them more information on the quality of the traffic that they got through Audience Solutions. So in the next session, you're going to go further with Alessia and Clément on RLSA strategies and bidding strategies for RLSA.
So we're going to see how RLSA is working when you're using automatic bidding strategy. I'm going to guide you through, and I'm super excited about a function that has been released the past week. So really, really new tool. I'm not sure that everyone is already familiar with that. I don't think so. So it's how you can customize your ad text according to the audiences you are displaying the ad text to. We're going to see how you can use RLSA in target and bid, the best practices. And we're going to do, I'm going to explain you how to do an analytics incrementality test for RLSA. So you can compare the performance of an ad group by using RLSA and without RLSA, or with a given bid adjustment and another bid adjustment, by doing a cookie split in analytics, which sounds super complicated. Actually, it's really, really easy. We're going to cover all the details during the next section. Again, remember that it's important that you fill in the survey if you want to receive the certificate. So you need to complete all our 7 sessions. And how we know if you were attending or not? By filling in the questionnaire, the survey. You receive it via email, but if you don't receive it via email, you find it in the description of the video. So now or when the video is uploaded on our website. Make sure you fill it in before next Monday. Next Monday, I'm going to close it. So you have 6 days to fill it in. So now we have 7 minutes for questions. So let's see if we have questions. And again, if we cannot go through all of them, no problem. I will answer them in the presentation and share the presentation with you. So how does the system choose similar products to display? I guess this is a question about dynamic remarketing. What are the criteria used?
So yeah, for that, as we said, the machine learning is very important for us. So actually, the algorithm are going to be able to study what kind of products are built similar to other products. So they basically study the whole behavior of a customer and see what are the best similar products to display in complement so that it drives better performances for your clients. And that's why, sorry to interrupt, that's why it's also important for you to recommend to your clients to have very clear feeds, because, for example, a Google product category or a description will be very important to actually match also the products in the feed system.
Yeah, and if there are any errors or mistakes, anyway, AdWords will tell you. If there are any, for example, tags not matching an ID in your Google Merchant Center feed or AdWords feed for the dynamic remarketing for any vertical, it will tell you. But again, make sure that everything is clean and clear. we still have Sharon that is asking what is a native inventory. So native ads are ads that match kind of the layout of the page they are displayed on. If you're interested on this kind of thing, what I can do, I can link a resource on that at the end of the presentation so that everyone can read about this like innovative way of displaying your ads in someone else's website in Google Display Network.
Then third question, if we can have a frequency cap, can we see how many times a unique user see the ad before they click? From Bradley. So yeah, you can actually add the column to see the unique users on your display campaign. So you can see how many times users has seen the ad in the data in the AdWords front end.
Yeah, and also in analytics, you can analyze your conversions report. And for example, in the path report, you can see which are the steps that people take before converting. So they might click, for example, on a search ad, and then come back to your website through remarketing campaign, and then finally convert just through an organic search, let's say. So make sure you leverage that. We have a good session on measurement in 2 weeks. We're going to go in depth in that as well. So use both analytics data to see what's happening on the website, how people get to your website, and use the AdWords report for the unique users.
Isn't there a risk to lower volumes of conversions if profitability, so ROI, is the goal? So yes, that's a risk, but that's something you need to actually discuss with your clients. So they might, your clients might give you RLSA objective on the campaigns, but you can maybe see with them if it's more important for them to stick to this ROAS or to increase the volume of conversions, even if the ROAS is a bit lower. So then it's really a matter of setting the goals of and the objectives of your clients. So whether it is the volumes of conversions, the ROAS, or a combination of both, and what can be the best for them in terms of performance.
So we have another question. Is there any way to use third-party data on display campaigns? I'm not sure this is a question about using remarketing and other kind of targets. So in that case, yes. So remarketing is your data, meaning that the remarketing lists are built through the analytics code or the remarketing code, but of course they are about the users that have been already on your website. You can, we haven't talked about this today because today we covered remarketing, but you can create, as we said in the first session, campaigns, for example, to find new users using Google Audience solutions. So for example, in-market audience, custom affinity audiences as well. So you might want to create, for example, a campaign to target all the in-market users. So people that have not necessarily been on your website, but are looking to buy something that you chose. So it's something that you can do. We have a display session in 2 weeks in which we're going to go through how you can build your whole display strategy. So it's pretty advanced session. So make sure you attend if you want to know more about this. So how you can do remarketing together with other combinations of targeting. If that was the question. If this wasn't the question, feel free to write it on the right column and I will try to answer in the presentation.
Following Google best practices, it is recommended to merge RLSA campaigns with non-audience campaigns. How is best approach to manage bids for both audiences and new users? So that's something you're going to see with more details in the next session. That's really going to focus on best bidding practices for RLSA. But well, the best solution is actually to use automatic bidding, because then the machine learning will enable the algorithm to adjust the bids in the best way to both for known visitors, so returning visitors, and for new visitors. But otherwise, you can just manage your bid at the keyword level as you were used to do, and actually increase or lower your bids on the audience list in the audience tab to make sure you have the best performances on this audience list.
Yeah, and what we always recommend is to start with RLSA always in a bid-only mode. So using it in a campaign that can target new and returning users. And then when you have achieved good results in terms of CPA and conversion uplift at campaign or account level, then we can go more advanced into restricting, for example, creating new ad groups only in target and bid mode, expanding your keywords, for example. And this is something we're going to see in depth. But apart from a few exceptions, we would say that targeting from bid only is the best way. So using it in a normal search campaign. Let's see, maybe we have time for a last question. There was no way to add remarketing lists to multiple search campaigns on campaign level. Are you going to fix that? Well, actually, the copy paste should be available for that. If it's not, I will try to talk to our account managers. If you could, to our product managers, if you could just give a few more details, maybe in the comments, and I can try to understand what the problem is, and I will try to get some information from our product team. I think we have to close this live stream because it's 3 p.m., but I will make sure that all other questions are answered anyway, and if we didn't get something right, make sure you are commenting, and I will update our answers in the presentation. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for attending this Hangout on Air.
And goodbye, and see you really soon next week. Make sure you're filling the survey. Bye-bye.
Bye.